live dans quelques secondes. Donc, ceux qui ne veulent pas être sur YouTube, vous pouvez éteindre vos caméras.
Should I start, Sana? Well, I will just wait a bit.
لسه في ناس جايين رشا لسه trying to... Okay, I will remove the waiting la salle d'attente et je reviens. Attends juste une seconde.
Okay, so people can join indirectly, Maheki, without having to go through the waiting
Yes.
room. Okay,
Yes, I think better. Yes, you can start, Rasha.
Okay, and I can share my screen, Mahek. You need to please, Sana, to make me a host.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Show from the start. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. And I want to thank Awalshi Sana for organizing this. And I would like to introduce myself. I'm Resha Mashmoushi. I'm an educational psychologist. I recently joined Kamali Clinic, and my work mainly specializes in students with learning problems, with attention problems, social communication, and obviously, you know, time management and executive functions. So I think what we're going to be doing is that I'm going to do the presentation, and then by the end of it, if you have any questions, then I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I'm going to stick to English. I might speak a few words in Arabic. I'm sorry, I don't know French. So but I hope that everybody will find this presentation helpful. So the title of the presentation is Executive Functions. I'm going to start off by, you know, if anybody has heard the term before, they know what are executive functions, how do we use them in our daily life. خلينا ناخد هيك مثلا 2-3 answers and then I can move on. Anybody would like to go? في حدا سنة offered? Sana, أنت قولي لنا, do you know what are executive functions?
Okay. صعب علي.
لا, no, this is exactly, I want to know what you know about executive functions.
ما بعرف كتير أشياء. If you can explain us, it will be a good thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Unfortunately, you know, with online presentations, it's a bit difficult for the presenter to see the other people. Anyways, so executive functions are basically our ability as people to execute tasks. يعني نعمل the task, to do a particular task. So when we are thinking about something, how we share our thinking with other people. If we are feeling about something, feeling something, come in, how to behave on this feeling, how do I express these feelings to other people, my behavior as well, how am I able to regulate my behavior, the learning, how am I able to show how much I know. So in if I want to summarize it, it's the ability to regulate thinking, to regulate feeling, and to regulate behavior. For example, إذا a child knows how to do something, but they don't know how to show it to other people, then this is where the problem with executive functioning are. It's like the orchestra, the maestro. يعني the executive functions is the maestro. It regulates the behavior, it regulates the thinking, our feeling. It makes all the orchestra work together to be able to show how to produce a particular work. يعني هو المايسترو اللي بيدير. It regulates all our feelings, our emotions, our attention, so on and so forth. It is very much brain-based. So هي محطوطة, it's the frontal lobe of the brain, اللي هي this area of the brain, is the part of the brain اللي regulates executive functions. So when a child has problems in executive functions, that means that part of the brain is not working as should be. Eventually we will know how is this related to mind, to time management and to learning, but it's important to talk of executive functions before we actually move into all the strategies that can help a child in learning and in time management. So what are executive functions? شو هن؟ عبارة عن شو? What are they? أول شيء, there are 10 executive functions that are needed. And when I'm talking about them, please try to think of it relating to school and related to learning. مش ضروري بس for children, even for us. You know, when we want to learn something new, how do we use these executive functions? So the first thing is task initiation. يعني is the ability to start something. From a lot of the parents come in and they tell me that my son or my daughter, they're really smart, they're really good, but they cannot start. You know, like starting a task is very difficult for them. It needs a lot of persuasion. Yalla, let's do it. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's start. So this to start.
ايه لا مبروك دي فين والله لا دي
To start a task, to start the initiation of the task, it requires a lot of time. So هيدي وحدة من an executive functioning skill. Another point is the response to inhibition. يعني when a lot of students, we see that they are very impulsive in answering. يعني they just write, they rush in giving their answers, they don't think. مع إنه if you sit with them and you tell them to repeat the work and to think of the work and to revise the work, they are able to know where their difficulties are. So they are very impulsive when they do something, which makes them do a lot of mistakes. But it has nothing to do with their inability to do it. They know how to do it, but because they rush it, they are not able to do the work correctly. Another aspect is the focus, so attention. أكيد, one ability to learn and one ability to do work and one major important ability to manage our time properly is to be able to focus. If we don't focus, if we don't pay attention well, if we are not able to manage the distractions around us and stay focused, then definitely, obviously, this will impact our ability to learn. A fourth very important executive functions is time management. So how do I plan my time? How do I use my time properly? How do I avoid not leaving everything to the last minute? How do I make a schedule? How do I stick to this schedule that I make? And again, this is not only related to students, but it is related to anybody who in our daily life we need these executive functions. The fifth executive functioning skill is working memory. Working memory is our ability ناخد information, store it for a little bit of time, make sense out of it, and then be able to memorize it. يعني I'll give you for example. If I give you an example, very simple example, 1 + 1. So your brain or your working memory, what did it do? It stored the information there. It memorized there is one, there is one, there is plus, and automatically you give me the answer, which is 2. But this is done for every single information that we are getting from our environment. When we see something, we are storing the information in our working memory. When we hear something, we are storing the information in our working memory. When we smell, when we are using all the senses to get this information, it's stored in the working memory. Our brain makes sense out of it, بيعمل إلى meaning, and then we are able to understand what's going on. When a child or a person has problems in working memory, they are not able to store a lot of information. Yani in a classroom where a child struggles in working memory, they are not able to take in all the information and they are not able to store it. And this is why they lose a lot of information. And this is why they cannot cope in a classroom. And there's a lot of information given at the same time, especially in a classroom where everything is quick. The teacher does not stop and make sure that every child is understanding. And this is why they feel lost and they feel that they cannot cope. They are not being able to cope with all the information. So the 6 type of executive functions that are needed for learning, دايما remember how all of these are important for a child or a student to learn. To be flexible. Again, أنا إذا حدا, if I'm not a very flexible student, I am a student who is not able to think of other ways of solving a problem. يعني, I cannot easily, it doesn't easily come to me how one problem can be solved in very different ways. هذا كتير applicable in mathematics. So we don't have this ability to shift our ideas from one place to another. أو إذا تعلمت شغلة أنا if I learn something in science, how can I apply my knowledge, for example, in daily life? How do I move these ideas from one situation to another or from one condition to another? How do I generalize the information that I know? So some kids need help to be able to do this shifting in information given. Self-regulation and emotional control, he is about controlling yourself. So how much the child is able to control their emotions. So when I'm bored, I don't act like I'm bored. I still am engaged and try to do work. If I am angry or frustrated, again, I still am able to put effort and try to do the work, even if I'm frustrated, even if I feel that I'm blocked. So the ability to self-regulate yourself, even if you are not in the mood or you feel you're blocked or emotionally you are not able to engage in the environment. Task completion. Again, some kids, a lot of the times you see them when ببلشوا one task, they leave it, then they move into another one, and then they come back to it, and then they go to a third task. So they are not able to finish a task in one go from the start to the end. لا بدنا ناخد breaks, بدنا نقوم, we want to come back, then take a break, we do something else, and then come back. So again, to be able to learn, you need to have this ability when I know I am focused, I do one task, I finish from it, and then I'm able to move into another task. And the 10 obviously so again, organization skills are very important. بكل شيء that's happening in class, to take care of in life, it has to do with taking care of their things, their belonging, having an environment that is organized around them. بالدرس, again, I need to be organized when I'm writing. I need to be organized when I'm doing math problems, so on and so forth. So these are the 10 executive functions that are needed to be able to learn better and obviously become better regulated as far as feelings, emotions, and thinking. It doesn't mean that if a person has difficulties in one area, يكون عنده, يعني, to have difficulties in all of the 10 areas. It really varies. So maybe you have one area you are challenged in, you have 2 areas, 3 areas, so on and so forth. And what's important when we want to help our children or our students is to try and do an analysis, what part of these 10 executive functions, what are the 10 skills from this list that the child is struggling in, in order to be able to help them out. لأنه ما فينا نعمل, we cannot plan an intervention and we cannot help if we don't have a proper assessment and we don't know exactly what's going on with the student. أكيد there are certain ways, يعني there are certain tests, there are certain rating scales that are given to be able to identify these issues. So what if a child, I'm going to share with you a little bit of the terms that I've heard throughout the years from parents or from teachers of students who actually turned out to have learning, to have problems in their executive functions. From the things that they share is that my kid is lazy, he doesn't put the effort, he just gives up easily, he gets stuck. Every time I want to give them something, he gets stuck. His first reaction or her first reaction is, I don't know how to do it. This is very difficult. They are inconsistent. Sometimes they do marvelous. They are able to do the task. Other days, the same task, they might struggle a lot to do it. They forget most of these things. They don't hand in their work. They are just lost all over the place. They are not independent learners. ما في يعمل الشغل لوحده. I need to always follow up. I need to always be there. I need to make sure that he does the job. They cannot do the work independently. These are behaviors that the students show. Yes, they're true. I cannot say that that child is not forgetful. I cannot say that the child is inconsistent. I cannot say that the child doesn't feel lost. But what's important is not to look at the behavior and try to understand why. Why is he doing like this? Why is she like this? What executive functions that they struggle in are causing these behaviors? And I'm not saying that poor executive functions is the only reason why a child suffers. No, there might be other reasons, but it is one area that's important to look into to be able to help a child. So in class, these students come in to small the teacher saying, well, they do not hand their work on time, they forget to do that, they're always late, they're always like lost in their own world at home. But I need to always follow up to make sure that he does the routine, that he did everything that he has to. Extreme emotional reactions, يعني نزعل على أقل شغلة, we start, like, and start getting frustrated and angry for the simplest reasons. I'll come in, we get very happy and very excited for the simplest reasons. So our reactions are, the child's reaction is over exaggerated for us at least. Socially come in, they're impulsive, they might have problems with their friends because ممكن نقول شيء that we shouldn't say. We don't think a lot beforehand, and we don't think of what we are saying. What are the areas اللي في problems? So when we talk about executive functions and learning, so when we want to write something, we need to plan it. So a lot of the kids اللي عندهم executive functioning problems, they just take the piece of paper, take the pencil, ويلا, and we start writing. We don't think, we don't plan what we want to write about, we don't organize our thought. And you need to have good task initiation, هدول executive functions اللي حكينا عنهم, and good organizational skills to be able to do that. تا أنا أكتب properly, I need to think of my sentence structure. بس أنا إذا حدا مني organized, or if I'm somebody who struggle in organizational skills, how do you expect the child to have proper sentence structure? The evaluation, دايما بنقول نحن للولاد proofread, check your work, make sure it's correct. طب إذا الولد they are not able to do task completion, بالأساس they don't know how to do it. إذا هن already they're not flexible in the way that they can actually see a different perspective of things, how do I expect him or her to evaluate their work? So written expression, it requires a lot of these executive function skills to be able to produce a proper piece of writing and to be able to produce a good piece of written work. نفس الشيء reading comprehension. فينا نقرأ, we can be very good readers, but it doesn't mean that I understand what I'm reading. So for a child, the child can be a very good reader, بيقرا كتير منيح ما في عنده مشكلة in the reading. But when you ask him طب what did you write, did you read about, they struggle in the reading comprehension because ما في عندهم the flexibility, the focus, the good working memory to be able to يعمل relation between what I'm reading and prior knowledge. نحن when we want to learn something new, we are always basing this something new on something that I know. My brain is making this link. So this link between what I'm reading now and what I already know, it's difficult for some students. نفس الشيء, you know, again, when I'm reading comprehension, I need to make sense of what I'm reading. For example, if I'm reading now for 15 minutes, to be able to know what I'm reading now, I need to store شو قريت 10 minutes ago in my working memory to make sense out of everything that I'm reading. Again, prioritizing. So مش كل شيء بقراه أنا is important for me to understand the big picture. My brain needs to prioritize. Okay, هاي المعلومة مهمة. It's important, this information, for me understanding the whole picture. هيدي المعلومة is not very important. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. So again, these are all executive functioning skills that are needed to have proper reading comprehension. Independent work, أكيد, there's more or less, I've mentioned this earlier. So if you cannot plan ahead, you cannot set goals, you are not able to be independent in your learning. If you are not able to self-regulate yourself and self-monitor and make sure you are on task, make sure that you have a schedule and you're following the schedule, then obviously you're not able to learn independently. Projects. دايما نعطي الأولاد projects. A lot of the kids are brilliant in doing projects. They do it from A to Z without any help. Others, نعطيهم التوبيك وبتلاقينا they get overwhelmed, they don't know where to start. بدي أعمل هاي ولا بدي أعمل هاي. No, I need to do this. And then you feel that you need to interfere, you need to support and help the child in step by step to be able to do this long-term project. كمان, if child with poor organizational skills, poor time management, poor self-regulation, cannot and absolutely cannot do the project all by themselves from A to Z. Test taking كمان. بالتست نفسه, it really requires a lot of skills نحن بننسيها. يعني بننسى إنه الولد when they are taking a test they need to have good time management. مش بنقضي نص ساعة. If I have 1 hour, I spend 15 minutes on one question and then I don't have enough time to finish the other questions on the test. فبيخلص الوقت and they have not answered a lot of the questions on the test. Self-monitoring. Okay, بوصل when I know and okay, fine, this question is hard. I'm going to skip it now and I'm going to come back to it later. Not all students can do that. They don't know how to do that. Planning the responses, organizing in a sense. I'm going to start with the easy question, and then after I do the easy questions, I'm going to move to the more difficult and then to the most difficult. هيدي الorganization on how do I do a test, كمان it's not all students are able to do it. So these are some of the things or that ما بعرف شو صار هون. Some of the challenges الولد اللي عنده executive functioning problems to be will face these problems. Okay, so having said this, we cannot not acknowledge your frustration as parents. So أكيد at one point تحسوا إنه خلاص I cannot take this anymore. I cannot help him anymore or her anymore. They always need me around. They always need me to follow up. They don't know how to manage their time. They don't know how to focus, and you just get frustrated. This is understandable, but again, always whenever you're in this mindset, try to always remember how difficult it is for the student or for the individual to the experiences they are going through. So as a parent, دايما ذكروا إنه learning for your child at this particular moment, it's like learning a new computer program, for example, for us. إنه إذا حدا أجا ساعدنا and took us step by step, it makes life much easier for us. أولا, it's going to be so overwhelming for us. We are very, so overwhelmed. We don't know where to start. And this is why they need you to be able to help them in this process. كمان, remembering routines. مع انه بنعيدها كثير انه just remember the routine. How come you are قد ايه عدناها? How many times have you repeated this and you're still not able to do it? كمان it's as challenging for them as asking somebody who smokes to quit smoking. طب انه شو بدها يعني؟ ما خلص quit smoking. It's not that difficult. So again, it is challenging for them. كمان when anything that's new, it needs a lot of repetition for them to be able to be able to become independent. So we need to model, we need to show them, we need to repeat, and we need to be consistent. مش ضروري everything at the same time. If there is a specific difficulty, and now when we talk about certain things that can be done at home to help the student with time management and so on, it's very important to think of small goals. يعني مش اليوم أنا tomorrow there's going to be a drastic change. It's always important to show them, to model with them at the beginning, to repeat it several times on how to stick to a particular routine, and then to be consistent, one thing at a time. يعني not to have a lot of goals set for the student at the same time. Okay. So what are certain things that help the children in executive functions 1 and help them in their time management? To be able to help the child with time management, it's very important to build in a routine. I know you've heard it before, and I'm saying it again because it's very important. Depending on the child, I don't know your children أي أعمار they are, but it's just the idea of having a particular routine for your child. فيها تكون after school routine. فيها تكون morning routine. هلا we'll do them together. So to be able to manage your time well, you have to have a routine. وإلا it's impossible to do it. So هيدا, this is one example of a routine, simple routine. After school بس يجي الولد, hang your backpack, wash your hands, show mom your schoolwork, and then have your snack. فيها تكون detailed أكتر أكيد, بس it's just an idea to show you, you know, what is a routine. So again, as a عمر أكبر, we can do it differently depending on the age of the child. This is, for example, a morning routine. يعني بدل ما الصبح نضلنا عم نعيد ونعيد we feel هيك all over the place. فينا نعمل روتين بس للمورنينج. الروتين مش ضروري يعني it means like my day is structured from the morning.
Bien alors pour
So over here, for example, هيدا morning routine that worked for a particular student. إنه hang up the coat, get out the homework and place it in the upper corner of the desk. مثلا sharpen your pencil, check the blackboard for instructions and follow instructions. Whatever it is, فيها تكون brush your teeth, get ready, shower, whatever, get your backpack. If the child has have a problem in morning routine, end of day routine, assignment book filled in, spelling workbook, reading book, reading folder, social studies, whatever is needed are all packed in the bag, and other things that needs to be done, then it's done. مثلا قبل ما when we finish everything, this is your end of day routine. After our home, for example, a free time, practice piano, homework, dinner time, whatever. هلا أكيد الروتين مش إنه نحن we're not robots. في أيام بيزبط 100%، في أيام it doesn't. It's absolutely fine. We are humans at the end of the day. But the message you are giving the child is that time needs to be managed. Time needs to be organized. We cannot just spend our day and spend our evenings and without having a specific routine. هيدا الشيء, of course, it's a habit that they start to learn at a young age, and then be able to apply it when they are older. Homework. إذا ما بدنا نعمل routine to anything, then I highly recommend to do a homework routine. If you don't want to invest in anything, invest in this, especially for young ones. يعني الhomework مش إنه يلا come sit يلا نفتح الشنطة and let's start. No, everything needs to be planned just before you start the homework. Okay, نفتح بنشوف what we have. We make a schedule of how we are going to do the routine, the homework. يعني for example هلا مثلا for every day before they actually start the homework, I need to plan how I'm going to spend my hour or my 2 hours. So 5 minutes Arabic, I don't know, 15 minutes English, then you're going to have a break, then whatever it is. This is really very, very important. It's very important we do the homework at the same time. مش مرة بنعمله 4 بعد الظهر at times 6 بعد الظهر. As much as we can, we need to stick to a specific time for doing a homework, a specific place where we do the homework, and a specific way of doing the homework, in the sense that we're going to work half an hour, then we're going to have 10 minutes break, then half an hour, then 10 minutes break. This consistency is very important to help and to model time management. It can be done يعني in whatever way works for you and for the child. مثلا they can start the homework directly after they come back, or they can have a break and then do their homework. It all depends on your lifestyle and what works for you. This is more for older students. So again, the way I manage my homework tells a lot about the way I manage my time. So for every day, I put what are the subjects that I need to be studied, things that I need, things that I need to get the homework done. What is the priority من كل هالhomework برقمهم 1 2 3 4, and when will I do that? How much time do I need to do it? So again, this is to organize and structure the way I'm gonna get the work done. كل هيدول organizational skills, it helps obviously in all the executive functions that we talked about, as far as organizing, planning, task completion, task initiation, and time management. The workspace, عم نحكي عن الhomework. I'm still talking about homework because I know it's an important aspect. حكينا about a same place in the sense مش in the living room where there's a lot of distractions. لا, specific place, it's a desk, a proper desk to do a homework. Everything is there, the pencils, the pens, the assignment. مش كل شوي بدنا نقوم نروح نجيب eraser and then come back. Okay, I forgot, I need the paper, I go and come back. Everything should be there in the workspace. The chair كتير مهم تكون comfortable. Table فيها space, مش there's a lot of things on the table ودفاتر وأقلام وfiles وfolders. No, it needs to be really a very spacious and a very clean workspace. And فيها يكون personalized, and I'm going to show you some examples. يعني فيها تكون like ينحط a little bit of pictures, so on and so forth, just to make it a bit more personalized. Minimal noise, يعني مثل ما كنت عم بقول, not in the living room, so it should be in a place that is quiet in the house. There's no distractions, the door is closed, there is nobody coming in and out, the TV is off, ما في distractions, TV وmusic وخي عم بيلعب حدي واختي عم تلعب حدي. It really needs to a place where there's no noise, no distraction. Be a role model. If you are there next to the child, please ما نحمل التليفونات ونحمل الايبادز we have to be a role model. كيف أنا عم بطلب من ابني أو بنتي to focus, I need كمان to show them إنه أنا when I'm working, I leave all my distractions away. If you can read, if you need to be present, not necessarily إذا you are teaching him, please follow كمان these guidelines, in the sense إنه أنتوا you don't have your distractions with you. You are there focusing مثل ما هو the child is focusing. إذا you are just physically present and not teaching, then please كمان نحمل كتاب, نحمل something, just do something as showing them, just being a role model that when I want to do something, work, I am focused on that work. I'm not distracted with other things. So هدول they are just examples of workspace. أكيد هدول للعمر الأصغر، العمر الأكبر they can do it in whatever way. بس الفكرة, the idea is that to personalize this workspace and make it friendly, one, and it is set. يعني this is the place where I do my homework and I get the work done. As far as projects, there are different worksheets that could be done كمان to organize how I'm gonna tackle a project. يعني if عندي a project, what are the possible topics? What I like about this and what I don't like about this topic. Once we choose the topic, what do I need? The material, I list them down. Where will I get this? When will I get them? Again, this is how we manage our time and how we organize our time to get projects done. هيدي إلها different forms. I've just given you as an example the first form, but it obviously gives different steps in order to complete the project. Attention. بس نحكي نحن عن self monitoring. Remember حكينا executive functions that to be able to have good time management skills, I need to self monitor myself. I need to see how well I am doing. One thing is a worksheet, very simple. هيدي فينا نعملها يعني. Was I paying attention when doing a task? الولد بيعمل self monitoring. Was I paying attention when doing this task? Yes, no, yes, no. And we can have a discussion. طب ليه ما كنت عم تنتبه? Why were you not focused? So on and so forth. هيدي بتعلم إنه أنا I need to assess myself. I need to انتبه على حالي. When I'm doing something, am I doing it well or not? And the last thing, كمان, it's mind mapping to organize my thoughts. I'm not sure if I'm sure يعني some of you have seen this. So هيدي it's about written expression. So before I actually start writing, I need, for example, إذا أنا عم بحكي.
Sorry, Rasha.
Yes.
Sorry, Rasha. Yeah, there is some French. They didn't understand Arabic. Please, can you just avoid Arabic word or sentence? Thank you.
Hey, it's the last slide.
Okay.
The
Sorry.
final slide. Sorry about this, but sometimes like I start.
Yeah, I know. Reflex. I know. I understand. Thank you.
So over here, for example, if I am asking the child or the student to write about things they like in school, this is the topic. So likes, for example, here I would likes in school. Our branch, it goes out and it says, for example, recess. And then it branches out into 3. I like football during recess. I like to have lunch with my friends during recess, for example. And here it's about lunch, football, whatever, just running around. Okay. Another 2 when I like about, and this is the initial step before I actually start writing. The second step, the second thing about I like about school, for example, is I like the clubs. So drama club here, I'm writing, yani we ask the students to write it. Swimming club, for example, chess club. So, and then once this is done, the ideas are there. They are there, and then we ask the child to be able to write them in an organized way in a sentence, in a paragraph, in a proper paragraph. So it's just to organize the ideas of the child before they actually start writing. Again, for written comprehensions, there are a lot of templates that could be used for written comprehension, a lot of templates for reading comprehension as well. So there are techniques that we can teach students to become, to have better study skills, time management. The idea was to kind of give you an overview and just make you kind of think of what are the executive functions that a child need to be able to do work, and try with these little techniques to be able to help them. So that's it for me, and that's my email and the phone number in case you have any questions or you want to contact us at Kamali. Probably, Sana, we can just have questions if anybody wants to.
Yes. Thank you, Rasha. Anyone have a question?
But they can. Do you want them to just put it in the chat, maybe?
Yes.
In the chat room, if you want to send us any questions.
Rasha?
Yes.
Hi, thanks a lot for this nice presentation. This is Wada. Thanks, Sana, for inviting Rasha for this amazing video call or webinar or whatever. I'm not really an IT person, but I would like to thank you, Sana. It was so nice. Thanks a lot, Rasha. I have one question, please.
Hey, go ahead.
Rasha, from which age can we start looking for these executive functions, whether they exist or no, or it's early to judge? I would be curious to know.
Definitely, yani, these difficulties can be present. You can see them as a parent from, I would say, an age of 5. Okay. Like my child is not focusing. They're not able to finish the work. I need to be there with them. They don't know how to initiate. They get frustrated easily. You can see these behaviors as young as 5 when the student starts to learn. يعني أول ما they start, to learn and to have to sit and to follow instructions, and it's not only play-based. This is when you can start seeing that they might be struggling. And you can start, helping them as young as this age. Not necessarily حدا يجي يقول لك, well, yes, they do have a problem, but they might have some challenges, and you can start as early as 5 years.
Yeah, I will look for a pattern in behavior, not necessarily from one incident. It has to be repeated, probably.
It needs obviously to be repeated, and كمان, in school they do see this kind of behaviors as well. يعني the teacher as well sees these behavior, but it's not a one-off incident or a once a week incident or once a month incident. No, it's as you said, it's repetitive, and it's more or less of a struggle.
Yeah, because with homeschooling, we have this. Some mothers, we discuss it with the teacher. They gave us excellent feedback in the class, but when it comes to homeschooling, the focusing and the attention became, because it's a new thing to them. This was the explanation of the teacher. So probably we cannot really, in this situation, to compare them.
Homeschooling, with the e-learning and distant learning, it's not a good judge. First of all, it's not the judgment. But كمان, don't forget that they are in their comfort zone. كمان, they're used to. They're in their comfort zone. They don't want to put the effort. They don't want to, because they don't want to. It's hard. It's hard to focus, especially if you're talking about 5 and 6 and 7 years old, to focus on a screen and be engaged. So I wouldn't take this as a way of judging how students are, but it's just, like when they go back to school, if it's a problem, then definitely it needs to be.
Yes. Sorry, did you keep your email somewhere? Or I didn't check, please. You kept it, okay. So you left your email somewhere, right? If we need to get in touch with you. Okay, all right. Thanks, nice meeting you, Rasha. Thank you.
Thank you, Wadad. I think somebody is asking, do you encourage parents to put a shadow teacher for their child in class? Shadow teachers are usually advised for very severe difficulties. So when a child really is not able to follow instructions, to do the work, they struggle a lot in their learning, then obviously that's when a shadow teacher is required. But again, when there are severe cases, we always try to accommodate as much as we can without the need of a full-time adult with the child. But كمان, it doesn't mean that it's a bad idea if it is what's needed. The point of a shadow teacher is not to. The role is to try and guide the child rather than having to re-explain everything. So it's very important, again, to identify what is exactly the role of the shadow teacher, and how her presence will help the student. I think it's this is very important to consider. بعدين في
May, I think May, tu veux intervenir?
May is raising her hand.
Hi. Sorry, I'm driving. I cannot put the camera on. So, hey, my question is regarding homework. At what age can I leave the kids do their homework independently?
At what age? It depends on their abilities. يعني إذا if your child is able to focus, is able to complete a task without guidance, if they know that if you give them a specific time, they are able to finish the work in that specific time, then that's fine. But if not, يعني if everything we talked, يعني if everything was set as we said, you know, like explain to them what they have to do, this is what you have to do for 10 minutes, then you can do that, and we structured everything to them, and they are able to follow it, then at any time. But if they need your help, then you cannot just say, I'm not going to help you, I want you to be independent. And this is something that I hear a lot from parents.
So
that
I'll be around, but I want them to work like to be autonomous.
okay, بس إذا الولد ما بي if he cannot or she cannot, then he cannot, and you know what I mean. يعني it's I as I said, I hear it a lot from parents, and I do understand from where they're coming from, and I don't want to interfere because I want them to become independent. It's absolutely right, and we want the kids to become independent, but let's say they have problems in executive functions or in attention or on focusing. It's really very difficult to expect them to become independent. So it's as long as they have the skills and the abilities, then yes, go ahead and leave them. But if not, then we have to help them in their difficulties before we actually let them go and do it and become 100% independent.
Okay, sorry. And let's say there's no problem. So my question is, around what age?
What age are your kids?
10.
10. So, and now do you just leave? They can actually do the work by themselves without you having.
Most of the time, yes.
Okay, then that's fine. Then you don't have a problem, as long as you, I think, monitoring and just making sure by the end of it, you go back just to check, you know, like we said, the just monitoring and going back and checking their work. If you are able to do that with them, then that's absolutely fine. يعني عملت the structure معهم before they start, and
100%. Yes.
And by the end of it, you are going back and assessing it, then that's absolutely fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question. Olfa, she raised her hand, but we have also some question on the chat. Can you check?
What is TDA? Samira. I think Samira asked about executive functions linked to TDA. I don't know what's TDA. Samira would like to tell us.
Sorry, I don't know the word in English. It's déficit d'attention, avec ou sans hyperactivité.
ADHD. So you're talking about ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Yes, it's linked. It's very much linked to. So a lot of the kids who have ADHD also struggle a lot in their executive functions. So yes. في شغلة هون if memoire de travail is weak ما كتير فهمتها صنع إذا فيك تترجمي لي.
I don't ما شفتها.
Okay, can you see the chat?
Yes, but I think they send it to you, not on the chat group. Can you send me the message?
Okay, so the question is if mémoire de travail is weak.
Okay.
Memory, يعني.
Who asked this question?
I asked the question. Hi, Sana. It's Carla.
Hi, Carla. Yes.
Thank you so much. Beautiful Zoom session. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So I was asking if the I don't know what you call it in English, but if the mémoire de travail is a bit weak for the kids. So this, I mean, do they need someone to help them in the class, or it could get better with time? I mean, if you work on it.
Work memory, but I don't know if it's the right.
Yeah. So working memory is, so how do we try and help? Is our we need to think of the amount of information that is given. So ما فينا نحكي Arabic لا. We cannot just give the information, give a lot of information and expect the student to be able to follow up. So one thing we need to think of the amount of information given. Another thing we need to think of is trying to use visuals. And instead of always giving the information verbal, if we can just use whenever we can, of course, not all the information can be given verbally. If visually we're able to give the information, then it does make life much easier on the student. Number 3, if it gets better, yes, it gets better, but it needs kind of coping strategies. So in the sense, the child would know, that I cannot memorize a lot of information. I need to write it down, for example. I need everything to write it down. I need to make maps or organize, visual organizers for everything that I need to study. I know the techniques that they are taught for kids with working memory problems.
But do you think the French system is adapting these techniques, or do you recommend, for example, another system? Which system you think is the best for these? This kind of.
It's not about the system. I think it's about how much the school is able to accommodate. Yes, few schools are able to accommodate better. They're ready to help more. So it has to do with how much the school and the department in the school are willing to accommodate for the student. That's the key. And in our countries, it differs a lot from one school to another.
But also the system, you need to check also the system, if it's really easy for the children, if it's,
I agree. Definitely a school or a system in which a child learns 4 languages, 7 subjects, and I don't know what other things. It's much more difficult than a school system that requires learning, for example, 2 languages. So أكيد بيفرق هذا الشيء. But again, even if it is an easy system or an easier system and ما في support, we are still in the same kind of problem, for the student.
Yes. Thank you.
Olfa, can you unmute yourself? Yes, because she was asking.
Bonsoir, je voudrais poser une petite question. Déjà, désolée, je n'ai pas pu assister à toute la présentation, mais je vous remercie pour cette initiative. Ma question est, si l'enfant a un problème par rapport à une matière, des difficultés, comment l'encourager justement pour aller de l'avant? Par exemple, ma fille, elle a 5 ans, mais elle a un problème avec l'arabe. Donc, on est arabophone aussi, mais comment vraiment lui aider à approprier cette langue avec plus de choix? Je ne sais pas comment faire. Voilà, merci.
Okay, I have to translate. I think I'll try. Okay, if a child have a problem with, for example, Arabic, how can she help him with this? Easy.
That's a very well. Hi, Alfa. How are you? Okay, so if he has a problem in Arabic, and I think most kids have
Arabic or any other,
No, I think definitely it needs to first try to understand from where this is coming from. Is it really, do they have a language problem that is causing them to learn the language? Is it disinterest? Some kids are just not interested in Arabic and they will not put the effort.
Her child is 5 years old. Just
5.
maybe, yeah.
So there is, so really it's very difficult because it depends on the reason, why the child is not learning Arabic, and accordingly you can help them out. So as I said, there are different reasons for that. So بعد في حدا?
Okay, we have we have 2 questions. You can look.
Okay, so Samar is asking, Her child is 4.5 years, and he struggles in paying attention. So yeah, I mean, if you can just work on setting specific routines, as we said, whenever you want to start a task, plan it out. And even, you know, like the simplest thing of not necessarily anything that has to do with schoolwork. كمان مثلا you want to go out and or plan a birthday party. Okay, so let's sit, let's do it, let's plan it out. Step 1, steps 2, step 3. So I think at this age, before you actually go and intervene, you know, with the professional, start with these simple steps at home, a specific routine, sticking to the routine, encouraging the child to become more organized, and planning, you know, talking about plans, talking about when I want to do something, how do I carry it out, and then see how he responds to that.
Okay. We have 3 more questions, I think. Samira, Mohammed, and also Cyrine. I sent you the question by chat. Did you see it? Thank you a lot for this great presentation. How much can the school incorporate this into the way of teaching to tackle the different ways of children to learn?
يعني of course the school can help a lot, and it is a way of learning, and it is a way of studying. I agree with that. So yes, I mean, if teachers are happy and school are happy to do that, then it's obviously very important to teach study skills and to teach time management skills for students, definitely. But again, it all depends on how the school wants to respond, the system, and so on and so forth.
Okay, Samira.
Samira, I think
She's, yeah.
I think she asked about ADHD, Samira.
Yes, sorry, good evening. Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask you, all the tools you presented to begin solving the problem of executive functions are written tables that you need to fill out. My kids, from my point of view, they have task initiating problems. They cannot complete the task. So beginning something with making them fill a form seems very hard to me. Is there any other solutions or any other exercises they could do?
ما كثير فهمت السؤال.
You presented documents that they need to fill to prepare their work, right? Okay, all these documents, it's usually a timetable or an organization table that they need to fill and to explain what task they will do first and the second, and give details about it and when and where and why. I think it's a hard work to do. My kids are 5 and 9 years old, and they both have task initiating problems, and they don't complete the task, so they will be very hard to push to begin something and they will never end it. So I don't know if beginning with document filling is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you can help out with this. So this is the point. Yani the point is, remember when I said, like, you need to model, you need to repeat, and you need to be consistent. So you cannot expect the child to the student يعمل الشغل by just talking to them. And this is why I said choose small goals. يعني ما فينا to model everything. Let's say I just want to model for a month how to plan my work. So this is what you do. You just sit with the child, do it together. تاخد 5 minutes. It doesn't take a lot to do it, to write it up. And then you model it, you do it with them, let's say for 2 weeks. And then once this is done, then they can move on to doing half of it, for example. And then after that, they're able to do it independently. So you need to model, you need to repeat, but you need to be very consistent in doing it. And as I said, best شغلة, choose one thing that you want to address at this point. And then once this is mastered, you move on and you do other things. If this technique did not work, then we can think of different techniques. Yani. So I think this is a good way, you know, kind of to start, at least to start and initiate this exercise with them. So بعد في محمد.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just it's a quick question that I have noticed. I have 3 boys in the school. The eldest will be graduated this year. But what I have noticed through the years is how could we help the kids to organize their thoughts? So my question is related when they get an assignment from the school related to write small composition about 3 to 4 lines, 3 to 4 sentences. And sometimes I get the ideas, I find it really scrambled. They are not related to any systematic way of thinking or putting the things in an order. And this has been through the 3 kids. Of course, the eldest, now will be graduated. And of course, his mindset is totally developed. But I'm talking about the youngest, the 2 others, sorry. I always find this is an issue. I don't know if this is related to the school or to the way of studying.
Definitely, there is a way we write. Yani the fact that your child is just, the ideas are all over the place, معناتها ما في organization and writing. So what's happening here is that the child بياخد the topic and they start writing, and this is not a proper writing process. Usually the schools need to teach the writing process, that's for sure. يعني we brainstorm, for example. نكتب بس أفكار, we write them down on paper. Then the next steps, we tick or we circle what are the ideas that I want to choose, that I want to talk about in this topic. And then after that, I organize them. And هيدي الidea هحكيها in the introduction, هاي الidea رح أحكيها in the body, the other idea is in the ending. I write it, I proofread it. So writing is a writing, في شيء اسمه writing process. And this is something that needs obviously to be taught in schools. Every type of writing له a specific structure. يعني إذا أنا عم بكتب to persuade, the persuasive essay, I need to follow a specific structure. إذا I'm writing a narrative essay, I need to follow a specific structure. If I'm writing, for example, a descriptive essay, so these are all key techniques to be able to do it. That usually, and what should happen is that it's taught. It's taught for students, and a child with poor organization skills and poor executive functioning skills, obviously they are not able to do it alone. They need help to be able to learn and to master this process.
Thank you. So I believe maybe we are missing that, because I haven't seen this before, that we have the different ways of writing. So maybe we would need to spend some time with them. But thank you very much for the reply.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Est-ce que vous avez d'autres questions? Il y a d'autres questions? Anyway, thank you, Rasha. Thank you. This is an excellent and helpful presentation. I'm sure it has helped a lot of parents understand a little bit of the difficulty their children face. Si vous voulez, je vais partager avec vous. Sorry, Rasha, I will talk in French, speak in French. Je vais partager avec vous le contact de Rasha. Donc, si vous voulez la voir, elle donne des séances de coaching, de time management pour les adultes et pour les adolescents. Donc, voilà, elle est, je ne sais pas si Rasha ne s'est pas présentée, mais elle est, Rasha, you didn't present yourself, no?
I did.
Okay. Rasha fait des assessments. Donc, voilà. Elle travaille avec Amali Clinic. Si vous voulez la contacter, je partagerai avec vous les contacts. Le contact, les mails et le numéro de téléphone. Merci beaucoup et merci pour votre présence.
for your
Yes, Yara, oui, c'est enregistré. Vous trouverez la conférence sur notre chaîne YouTube, APLFI Dubaï. Merci. Au revoir.
Bye, everyone.
Merci. Bonsoir.
Merci, au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Merci, au revoir.